You can go kind of up on this. That's about as high as he can go. That's kind of me pulling it too. I tried to, oh. And that's how you know this is a real-time review. There you go. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a tour review of the Series 6 Spartan Buck with Assault Rifle from the World of Halo line. This action figure line's been one that's really grown on me, and this guy was found at a local Target out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's where I'm at. We're going to do a quick box look and then we'll take a look right at the figure. So up front, you got the figure in the case, looks great. I love this packaging that they're doing. I like it better than the previous one. It looks a little bit more modern, as I've said in my other videos. Got a picture of the Chief, Halo on top. I've noticed with the other figures that are from Halo Infinite, they'll have Halo Infinite in this area, so they will name it differently. And then on the back here, we got the other ones from this line here. So we have the Halo 5 Series Chief, Atriox, Spartan, Anubis, which I did a review on my channel for, the UNSC Marine that I did a review for on my channel for, as well as the Skirmisher. So this was the last one I kind of wanted to get. I'm not going to pick up Atriox, and I don't have the Chief. I'll probably get him if he's on clearance. I've seen a bunch of these guys, a couple of him as well, but I'll probably pick him up later if anything. This was the last one I truly wanted, and maybe even just army build this guy here. So on the back, it's just showing the other figures, World of Halo scale, Series 6 individual figures, Halo Infinite. And then on the bottom, we got all just the information there. Let me go ahead and zoom in there. That's the UPC code if you need it, Wicked Cool Toys. On the side, it says UNSC. On the other side, it has the UNSC insignia. And that is the box. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll crack this guy open and we'll do a review of the figure, and I'll let you know my final thoughts. And there you have Spartan Buck in all his glory. First impressions of this figure, I think he looks great, honestly. Out of the package, I think they did a good job with the colors as well as just the detailing. If you look at his legs, just his armor pieces, the knife, his visor and all that. Nice good amount of color as well as detailing. I do have the McFarlane series Buck from Halo 5 before they switched to Mattel. McFarlane was still making some of those figures, and I think this is a good follow-up. Obviously it's a different scale, but for the scale, you're getting a lot of detail and just a Spartan that looks really cool, honestly. The armor looks great, and he looks battle ready for any diorama that you might want to put him in. And that's kind of what I've been collecting these figures for. I love Halo, but I do want to eventually put them all in like a Believe trailer, Halo 3 type diorama. So I think that would look cool. They have a nice shelf presence to them. So let's go ahead more in depth about the paint, more of the details and the joints and all that fun stuff, and I'll give you my final verdict on this figure. All right guys, so looking at the figure, I just want to talk about the aesthetic first. As you can see, it says Spartan Buck right here. He has the ODST helmet and he has some really cool looking armor. Got some green paint here, got some different paint apps as well. The majority of the figure is kind of like a gray tan color. You might not be able to pick it up so much in the video here, but it is more of like a gray tan color, which I think looks great. It's solid, and again, like I was saying before, I think a black wash would be great on this. You have some black highlights in between here, and then the undersuit is a darker gray as well. Got these cool insignias on his shoulders, got the white stripe on top there as well. Let's see, what else did they paint? They painted these little brown pockets here also. Again, it looks solid. You got some silver on the back thigh area as well, some black highlights on the back side too. Overall, a good spread of paint. I think they did, honestly, a good job with the paint on this figure. He looks good on a shelf, like I was saying before, and you throw in a black wash in there and you're good to go, man. One thing I do really like about this figure as well that kind of stands out to me, I think it makes it pop a little bit more than some of the other Spartans we've got, is that visor color. It's like a darker teal green, like an aqua, and that definitely stands out more than some of the other Spartans that we've got. We've kind of gotten the basic colors, but with this one, that is a little bit different coloring that we're getting. So overall, the aesthetic of it, the detailing, the paint and all that looks solid, and I really like the way it came out. So aside from the look of the figure, let's go ahead and talk about the joints. On the top here with the helmet, you have a ball hinge neck, so he can't really look up too crazy. That's about as far as you'll get before you start pulling this torso out. I did that a little bit earlier and the figure just popped off. You can probably take this helmet off. That's not going to be a huge issue, but just be wise to that, that this torso might come off as well with it. And you can just pop it right back on. That's one of the things that's standard with these Jazzware figures. And I'll show you that guy just in a second. As far as looking down, you can't really get more articulated than that as far as looking downwards on a ball hinge neck. He probably is never going to even use that much articulation, but there you go. He's checking his toes or whatever. Good range looking down. Can do a complete 360 as well. So that is available if you so choose to break Buck's neck from a brute or whatever. As far as the next thing, we have the ball hinge shoulders. They go out about this far. You can't get a full cross. Excuse me. Let's get him back in frame. Because of the shoulder blades. Not the shoulder blades, but the shoulder pads, rather. They're going to kind of block that articulation. But that's as far as he can go. Not too bad. I think it looks... I mean, I think you can do a lot with that. As far as the elbows, we have single jointed elbows, as we've been seeing in this line. And as far as the wrists go, what we have is a swivel hinge wrist. So they swivel, and then they hinge as well. So there you go. Standard ab crunch. It doesn't go as far as you might like. That's kind of as far as you can go without it looking insane in the back here. So there you go. Because if you go further, like I was saying, I was going to show you guys, boom, pops right out. That is your standard with Jazzwares. Just keep an eye out for the stuff like that. That's your ab crunch right there, in case you're wondering what it looks like. I've seen people modify this and trim it down and stuff like that to make the abs go even further, which you can do, but just do it at your own caution. So with Jazzwares, they do pop out, but they pop right back in. So no issues there. Next, moving on, what we have after the ab crunch is the waist swivel, and I say that very lightly. So you can waist swivel, but you're pushing against the figure's anatomy at this point. You're pushing against the hips and everything like that pretty hard. So I just like to, excuse me, let's get this guy back in focus. I don't really use the waist swivel too much because you do get that kind of break in that hip, really. You start seeing the inner workings of the figure, but you can always have them look like this to the side. Nothing too crazy. You can make it work, definitely. So there's that. Number 7, sorry, I have a list I'm going off of. We have the ball joint hips. You've seen that before. That's pretty much standard on a lot of these Marine/Spartan figures. He can go pretty wide, full split. You will see the ball hinge joints there, ball joint hips, whatever you want to call it. So that is exposed, but you can have your buck do a full split. There we go. Next thing is the thigh swivel cut. I always think this is some of that articulated joint right there, the swivel cut. I think that's one of the best, mainly because honestly, you can have them kind of looking to the side and everything like that. I think that stabilizes the figure more than anything else, and you guys might feel the same way. Definitely let me know in the comments what you prefer in articulation. Maybe you guys like certain joints over others, and you think certain joints make the figure a lot better. I know for a lot of people, they want butterfly joints, which I get. Man, that changes the whole dynamic of the figure's upper body. So double hinge joints for the knees. They can go pretty far back, and then you add it to that ball joint hip, and boom, you can have them full on running. Let's see, next thing is the ankle rocker, standard ankle rocker. One thing I do want to note, we'll go ahead and zoom in right here. He does have a little bit of a heel above his heel, if you can see that little lip there on both sides. So that does kind of hinder the articulation there. Just FYI, you're probably not going to have his feet going that far back, but just something to note. And that's about it on the articulation. I think, again, for a $9.99 figure, they've done a great job. Next thing we'll go ahead and talk about is the accessories. All right, so he only comes with one accessory. This is the Halo 5 assault rifle. This is a cool design. I do like how beefy it is as far as the handle and everything like that compared to the other assault rifles. I think my favorite, though, is the Halo Reach one. I think it just looks more gritty and realistic than everything else. Less futuristic was a better call, in my opinion, on that one. This is a good one. It's the standard green, white, and gray that you'll see in Halo 5. I think Palmer comes with one of these as well in the Spartan Collection series, if I ever decide to pick her up. Which, by the way, if you're seeing this video in real time or a day or two after, I think GameStop in the US is doing a buy one, get one half off and like half off on clearance. So you could probably find those figures for cheap. But yeah, that's besides the point. Good figure, comes with a little peg, and you can just peg that into his back. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. Just the same old. Peg's just fine, no issues there. One last thing I want to talk about, that is the only accessory that you get. You don't get the base that they've been given with a lot of these figures. It's hit or miss. I think, if I remember correctly, my Skirmisher came with the base. This guy did not, and a couple of the other ones did not as well. It's a hit or miss. I mean, he stands fine. So, but if you do want those bases, you can probably buy them separately or in their Halo checkpoint packs that they've been shown up at Ross. So, excuse me. Last thing I want to talk about is just the knife. I consider it an accessory. It doesn't pull out or anything like that, and you can't take it off unless you just break it off, but it's another accessory. I think it looks fine. They could have made maybe the handle a different color or whatever, but really not a big deal. I think it looks fine, and the sculpt is solid, so don't need to go too in depth. There you go. So that's just a knife. And last but not least, let me give you my final thoughts on this. So one thing I wanted to note really quick while looking at this figure is the visor does kind of come off a little bit. I've seen that a couple times with the Halo figures in the Spartan collection and the World of Halo as well. You can probably just push that in. It is molded obviously to the helmet, but just an FYI, you might get that. If you look at it straight on, honestly, it looks fine, and I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Nobody's gonna really notice it. But if you need to, you could probably crunch that back in if you really tried. But just an FYI that you might get one of those guys. See that little gap right there. But other than that, no issues. And there you have Spartan Buck in all his glory yet again. Overall thoughts on this figure, I think it's one of the better Halo, the World of Halo figures that we've gotten. He is a recognizable character. Obviously, it says Buck on that. But honestly, you could probably army build him into a lot of like Spartan ODST type combos. I think he's going to look great in your collection. I definitely recommend picking him up. I would say he might be actually the best in this series. This one and the Spartan Anubis are both really good looking figures, and I think the World of Halo line is just getting better and better. So really liking what Wicked Cool Toys is doing. But if you see this guy, I would definitely recommend picking him up. He's going to look good in your collection with the other figures, and he looks very distinguished. So overall, I would say that I do like this figure, and I would recommend picking him up. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And if you get a chance, definitely try to share these videos. I'm going to try to do more and more reviews as we go forward this year and beyond. So thanks, guys. Have a nice day. Take care.